Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how much of your life have you wasted worrying? Think about last week, how many sleepless nights, restless thoughts, and what-ifs went through your mind. Now here's the shocking truth: most of the things we worry about never actually happen. In fact, scientists say almost 85% of our worries never come true. Yet we allow them to rob us of peace, happiness, and energy. But what if I told you there's a way to live every single day with peace, calmness, and joy, no matter what challenges life throws at you? Stay with me till the end of this video, because today I'm going to share timeless Buddhist wisdom teachings that have helped millions for over 2,500 years to stop worrying and discover lasting happiness. And trust me, some of the stories you'll hear today may change your life forever. Why do we worry? Let's start with the real question: why do we worry so much? We worry because we want control. We want life to go exactly as we imagine. We want people to treat us the way we expect. We want success without failure, health without sickness, love without heartbreak, and life without loss. But here's the truth: Buddha discovered life doesn't work that way. In Buddhism, this is called dukkha, the reality of suffering, or dissatisfaction. Worry is simply our mind's way of fighting against reality. We imagine a future that doesn't exist yet, and we get trapped in fear of what could go wrong. But here's a little hook for you: what if worry is actually optional? What if happiness doesn't depend on life being perfect, but on the way we see life? A farmer's luck. Let me tell you a short sense story. There was once a poor farmer. One day, his only horse ran away. His neighbors came and said, "What bad luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe. We'll see." A week later, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. The neighbors said, "What great luck." The farmer said again, "Maybe. We'll see." Later, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses. He fell and broke his leg. The neighbors said, "Oh no, what terrible luck." The farmer calmly said, "Maybe. We'll see." A month later, the king's army came to recruit all young men for war. But because the farmer's son had a broken leg, he was spared. Now the neighbors said, "What wonderful luck." And again the farmer said, "Maybe. We'll see." Do you see the wisdom here? Our worries and judgments about life are short-sighted. We call things good or bad, but in truth, we never know how the story will unfold. Buddhism teaches us to let go of labeling life, and instead live in the present moment. Part to understanding suffering and mindfulness. Now, before we learn how to stop worrying, we must first understand one of the greatest truths that Buddha shared. Over 2,500 years ago, Prince Siddhartha, who later became the Buddha, saw something shocking. Even though he lived in a palace filled with wealth, luxury, and pleasures, he realized that no one could escape suffering. He saw old age, he saw sickness, he saw death, and he asked the most powerful question any human can ask: why do we suffer? And is there a way out of this suffering? This was the beginning of Buddhism, and it is the same question we must ask today, because worry is nothing but a form of suffering, and Buddha gave us a clear path to break free. The first noble truth: life has suffering. Buddha taught what we now call the Four Noble Truths. The first truth is simple: life is filled with suffering. But here's the catch: suffering is not just pain. It's also dissatisfaction, stress, and BS worry. Think about it. You get something you want, you're happy for a while. Then you start worrying, what if I lose it? Or you don't get what you want, and again, you're unhappy. Our mind is constantly chasing, resisting, and clinging. That's why even when life looks perfect on the outside, inside, we feel restless. Pause and ask yourself, how many times have you ruined today by worrying about tomorrow? You had food on your plate, a roof over your head, people who love you, yet your mind was busy somewhere else, worrying about the future. That's the trap the Buddha wanted us to see. That worry doesn't come from life itself, it comes from our mind. The second noble truth, the cause of worry. The second noble truth explains why we suffer. It is because of 10a craving, attachment, clinging. We crave certainty in an uncertain world. We cling to people, to money, to status, to our own expectations. And when reality doesn't match, we suffer. Worry is just craving in disguise. It's our mind saying, I need things to go my way, or else I'll be miserable. But here's the liberating part. Once we see the cause, we can change it. The third noble truth, freedom from worry. Buddha taught that if suffering has a cause, it also has an end. Imagine that for a moment, a life free from endless worrying, free from restlessness, free from anxiety. It is possible. This state is called nirvana, but don't think of it as some faraway mystical land. Nirvana simply means freedom from clinging, freedom from fear, freedom from the prison of constant worry. And the path to this freedom is something Buddha explained very clearly. The fourth noble truth, the path. The fourth noble truth is the path, the way out. Buddha gave us what is called the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, don't worry, we won't get technical. Think of it like a roadmap to peace. It includes right understanding, right intention, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. For our topic today, the most powerful element is mindfulness. Because mindfulness is the direct antidote to worry. What is mindfulness? Let's make this simple. Mindfulness is the art of living in the present moment. Worry is always about the future. Regret is always about the past. Happiness lives only here in the present. When you are mindful, you are not lost in the what-ifs. You are aware of your breath. You are aware of this moment. And you are fully here. Worry has no power over you. As Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Zen master, once said, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. The two arrows. Let me share another Buddhist story that explains this beautifully. Buddha once said, when life hits us, it's like being struck by an arrow. But the real suffering comes when we shoot ourselves with a second arrow. What does this mean? Imagine you lose your job. That's the first arrow, it hurts. But then your mind says, what if I never find another job? What if I lose my house? What if everyone thinks I'm a failure? Those thoughts are the second arrow. They're unnecessary, and they hurt far more than the first. Worry is nothing but us shooting ourselves with second arrows again and again. The wisdom of Buddhism teaches us to stop at the first arrow, to accept reality as it is, without adding layers of fear and imagination. Practical step, mindful breathing. Now you may ask, how do I actually practice this? The answer is so simple, yet so powerful: breathing. Whenever you feel worry rising in your chest, pause, take a slow breath in. Feel the air entering your lungs. Hold it for a moment, then slowly breathe out. Do this 3 times. Just 3 conscious breaths. And watch how your mind shifts from panic to presence. This is not just theory. Modern science now confirms that mindfulness reduces anxiety, lowers stress hormones, and rewires the brain to be calmer. Buddha discovered this over 2,500 years ago. And today, we can practice anywhere while working, walking, eating, or even lying in bed. So we've seen how worry begins in the mind, and how mindfulness is the key to breaking free. But here's a big question: what about the things we cannot control? Because let's be honest, so much of life is uncertain. Illness, death, rejection, failure. How can we stay happy when we face things that are completely beyond our control? That's exactly what we'll explore next. And trust me, the Buddhist perspective on this can completely transform the way you live. Let's be honest. A huge part of our worry comes from one thing: we want to control everything. We want people to like us. We want our plans to go smoothly. We want our health, wealth, and relationships to stay perfect forever. But life doesn't work that way. And here's the truth you need to hear: most of life is outside your control. This is not depressing, it's freeing. Because once you truly accept it, you stop wasting energy on what you can't change, and you focus instead on what you can. The river metaphor. Imagine standing in a river. The water is flowing fast, and you're trying to stop it with your hands. The more you fight, the more exhausted you become. That's exactly what happens when we fight against life. Buddhism teaches us instead to flow with the river, to let go of the impossible task of controlling everything, and to relax into the current. When you stop resisting, you float, and suddenly life feels lighter. The broken pot. Here's a famous Zen story. A water bearer had two large pots. One was perfect, the other had a crack in it. Every day, as he carried water, the cracked pot leaked half of it. The perfect pot mocked the cracked one: "You're useless. You waste water every day." The cracked pot felt ashamed, but one day, the water bearer said, "Why do you think flowers bloom only on your side of the path? Because of your crack, I've been able to water them daily. You thought you were broken, but you brought beauty into the world." This story teaches us something profound sometimes. What we call problems or imperfections are exactly what make life meaningful. When you stop worrying about being perfect or controlling outcomes, you see the hidden beauty in imperfection. Think about your own life. How many times have you stayed up worrying about things you couldn't control? Did it help? Did your worry change the outcome? The truth is, worry doesn't control the future. It only steals joy from the present. And this is why letting go is the most powerful medicine Buddhism offers for worry. The Buddhist practice of letting go. In Buddhism, letting go is not about giving up or being careless. It's about seeing reality clearly. When you let go, you don't become weak, you become strong. Because you no longer waste your energy on battles you can't win. One of Buddhist teachings says, "Attachment is the root of suffering." When we attach ourselves to how life should be, we suffer. When we release those attachments, we are free. Practical step: the circle of control. Here's a practical way to apply this wisdom. Take a sheet of paper, draw two circles. In the inner circle, write down everything you can control: your actions, your attitude, your effort, how you treat others. In the outer circle, write down things you can't control: other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, the past, the future. Now here's the practice whenever you catch yourself worrying. Ask, which circle is this in? If it's in the outer circle, let it go. Breathe, release, and return your energy to the inner circle. This is how Buddhist wisdom becomes practical, daily medicine for worry. The empty cup. Another Zen master once held up a cup and asked his students, "How heavy is this cup?" The students gave different answers. The master smiled and said, "The longer you hold it, the heavier it feels." The same is true for worry. If you put it down, even for a while, your mind feels free again. The lesson: you don't have to carry everything. You can put the cup down. So far, we've seen how worry is born from craving, and how mindfulness and letting go can bring peace. But here's something even more exciting: Buddhism doesn't just tell us to stop worrying. It shows us how to actively cultivate happiness every single day. Because happiness isn't an accident, it's a practice. In the next part, we'll explore practical Buddhist techniques for daily happiness, simple, powerful steps you can apply right now to transform your life. Up until now, we've talked about worry, where it comes from, and how to let go. But here's the secret: simply removing worry is not enough. Because if you leave an empty space in your mind, old habits will sneak back in. Instead, you must fill that space with happiness, gratitude, and peace. The Buddha didn't just teach us how to avoid suffering. He also gave us clear ways to live with joy. And the best part, these practices are so simple, you can start them today. 1. The power of gratitude. Think about this every single day. You wake up with more blessings than you notice. Your breath is working, your heart is beating. The sun rises without you asking. But instead of seeing this, our mind goes, I don't have enough. I need more. What if I lose what I have? That's how worry steals happiness. Buddhism teaches us to practice gratitude, to actively notice and appreciate what's already here. Here's a simple exercise. Every morning, before checking your phone, take 1 minute to name 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as the roof over your head, the food on your plate, the people you love. When gratitude fills your heart, worry has no room to stay. The 2 wolves. Here's a story you might have heard, but it's worth repeating with Buddhist wisdom. A grandfather told his grandson, inside each of us there are 2 wolves. One is angry, anxious, and worried. The other is calm, kind, and joyful. They are always fighting inside you. The boy asked which one wins. The grandfather replied, the one you feed. Every time you choose gratitude, kindness, or mindfulness, you feed the wolf of happiness. Every time you choose worry, anger, or fear, you feed the wolf of suffering. So ask yourself, which wolf are you feeding today? 2. The joy of compassion. Another powerful practice for happiness is compassion. Most of our worries are self-centered. What will happen to me? What will people think of me? What if I fail? But when you shift your attention from yourself to others, something magical happens. You realize everyone is struggling. Everyone faces pain. Everyone worries. And suddenly, your heart opens. Instead of being trapped in your own worry, you find joy in helping, supporting, or even just wishing well for others. Buddha said, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your own path. So the next time worry consumes you, do one small act of kindness. Smile at a stranger, call a friend, offer help without expecting anything. That single moment of compassion can create more happiness than hours of worrying ever could. The monk and the scorpion. There's this end story of a monk who saw a scorpion drowning in a stream. He reached out to save it, but the scorpion stung him. Again he tried. Again it stung him. A man watching said, why do you keep saving it when it hurts you? The monk replied, the scorpion's nature is to sting. My nature is to help. Should I let its nature change mine? This story teaches us that true compassion isn't about waiting for the world to be perfect, it's about choosing kindness no matter what. And this choice brings inner peace. 3. Mindful joy in small things. Often we think happiness comes from big events, buying a house, getting a promotion, falling in love. But Buddhism teaches us happiness is hidden in the smallest moments. So my friends, we've traveled a long way together today. We began by asking, why do we worry so much? And we discovered the Buddhist truth that worry comes not from life itself, but from our mind. We learned that suffering, or dukkha, is natural, but it has a cause, and therefore it has an end. We saw how mindfulness, letting go, and daily practices can free us from unnecessary anxiety. We heard stories of the farmer's luck, the cracked pot, the 2 arrows, the king's ring, all reminding us that life is always changing, and happiness is always available in the present moment. And most importantly, we learned that happiness is not something we chase, it's something we cultivate. Every single day. Let me leave you with this thought. Imagine you are holding a lantern in the dark. Everywhere you walk, that light shines. You don't control the night, you don't control the storms, but you carry the light. Buddhism teaches us that peace and happiness are like that lantern. The world will always be uncertain. But if you carry awareness, compassion, and gratitude within you, you will always find your way. So, the next time worry knocks at your door, don't invite it in, smile at it. Breathe deeply, and remember this too shall pass. If this wisdom touched your heart today, take it with you. Don't just listen, practice. And if you'd like to continue this journey of wisdom and peace, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Wisdom of Sparks. Here, we explore Buddhist teachings, Zen stories, and timeless philosophy to help you live a calmer, happier life. So hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who might need a little peace in their life today. Because together, we can spread light in a world that so often feels heavy. Remember, happiness is not in tomorrow. Happiness is not in yesterday. Happiness lives only here in this moment. Stay mindful, stay grateful, and stay happy. Until next time, peace and blessings.